Hello. Says LinkedIn, you're not approved to go on LinkedIn. Boo hoo.
Oh, because you need to connect the accounts.
I didn't.
I bet.
Yeah.
But hi, everybody.
Hello, everyone. Okay, we'll go on LinkedIn next week, and we'll definitely we'll be ready for that next week. So we remove that. Happy Monday. Happy, oh my God, happy amazing weekend that everyone hopefully had. Yes, post 4th of July. I hope all is good. How are you?
I'm good. I gotta say, I had a nice, relaxing weekend, but 4th of July just wasn't the same.
No, it's not.
It was weird. And I know we both had different circumstances, like my kids were working or whatever, but like I went to the 3rd floor of my home to look out into the skyline, and last year I saw 3 or 4, I think, fireworks displays. This year I could only see 1. It was kind of sad. It was like, and no one was around. Like I was looking at my neighbors, no one was. I'm like, where'd everybody go? Are they inside their houses? Like, what are they all doing? I don't know.
If you guys are following me on Facebook, you know that I've been taking care of my husband all weekend. He had surgery last week. All is great, but he is on a 3-month recovery, and I feel like this has been my quarantine, but we are doing A-okay. And back to business as normal this week. Renovation should be done at Mia Bella, so I'm excited. I'm excited and I'm scared because I haven't gone to the venue in like 3 days, but
I'm sure it looks beautiful.
Yes, I can't wait to show everyone new pictures. There's so much going on, But as usual, Yvette and I are here every single Monday, no matter what. We are coming to you today with some amazing content education. As we obviously know, last week we had some bad news in Texas with gatherings and bars closing down. And so we are here to help you embrace the new norm and just actually kind of go over what we've been talking about since we started the podcast in April, what best practices Yvette and I have been doing with our clients. We are going this weekend on almost our 20th pop-up wedding this summer. So we are so excited to have been able to help all these couples and just, again, embrace the new norm and work with our amazing partners in providing space, but also making sure that we are within guidelines and we're being safe with our staff and with our guests. And so we wanted to come on today and tell you what we're doing with our future clients, because yes, we've been booking. We have not let COVID really do anything other than re-educate ourselves and re-educate our clients on what they can do and how they can plan their wedding. So Yvette and I wanted to come on today and talk about surveying your guest and really what that looks like, what that means, and give you examples exactly what we're doing with our couples. And then we also wanted to give you guys share some new news, but we'll save that for later. So yeah, why don't we get into surveying our guest for virtual or in-person RSVPs? I can definitely tell you my couples for September and October is kind of what I'm working on right now, are super excited about this because, well, not everyone can travel yet. So let's talk about it.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm not going to go point by point. I don't want to do the point by point thing because it's in the units section of Uncut and Unleashed. So if you're part of our group, great. You can just go there and get everything spelled out. If you're not a part of the group and you're watching this on some other platform, or you're watching this on our personal pages, you can go to the Uncut and Unleashed, and we wrote an article specifically on how to survey your guests and why that's important right now. And generally it's because the number one question is like, when are you getting married? The actual date, where are you getting married? And then how many people? Well, those are all 3 really unknowns right now, especially with dates. People are kind of leery about picking dates, venues, where do you go? What's open? What's not going to be open? And then as far as your guest counts. And right now, surveying your guests literally means like just giving them questions. Will you be able to attend? More than likely, what are your future plans, considering if this is 3 months out, 6 months out, 9 months out, a year out? Because we are finding that if you really ask people what they would like to do or what they feel comfortable with, things that are 6 months and below, like say between now and Christmas or as the year turns, most people are not feeling comfortable traveling. They're not going to get a plane ticket, and they're not going to do the whole thing of, I don't know if I can go, I'm spending the money, we have to get a hotel, is this really going to happen? And unfortunately, they're having to graciously decline your invitation. So moving forward, when you're planning, you need to know that, and it's okay. So one of the things I put on the list was, it's okay to ask. I think the traditional side of, yes, our parents and grandparents would probably be flabbergasted that you would even think to pick up the phone and ask somebody, or even just send them a survey that says, will you be able to attend? But in the light of what we're all going through and experiencing, nothing about what we're experiencing is normal. Nothing about what we're experiencing is traditional. So I think it's okay to go outside the box. And actually, I think the reverse happens. I think that people are welcoming, and they're very thankful that you would even take the consideration to ask them what their opinions are, instead of them feeling either guilty or they're forced to do something, or they may not know, and they may just tell you, I don't know. We'll see as we get closer. But all that to say, it helps you determine what your actual guest count should be.
Yeah. And it's also, so a couple of things that you said. One, a lot of people don't want to feel like they're pressured into making a decision that they're not ready to make. And so this is giving them the option to say, oh, wow, like there's a virtual pass option. Like I can watch the live stream. Please go ahead and add me and my family to that list. So that gives them a way to still be there, and they'll still be able to watch your ceremony. But it also gives people the option that just can't come. Like there's going to be situations with family that's out of the country in different states that aren't going to be able to come and travel. So this is the new norm. Virtual streaming is the new norm. And so you're pretty much saying, we would still love for you to be a guest, but would you like to be a guest virtually? Would you like to be a guest in person? This is also helping not only with the count, but it's helping the venue with the setup, because the guidelines are different. It's helping the catering staff. I mean, this is such an easier process for them once we have the in-person RSVPs. So we're sitting 6 people per table. We have to plate food now. So it makes it a lot easier to have, it's not open seating anymore. It's not buffet style. So it's almost like from beginning to end, it's definitely more personal. You've taken consideration also the guidelines for your venue. So for instance, we're not opening up the doors to 50%. We're going to 25% because that's where we're back at in Harris County. So we can only allow 50 guests coming in. So they're already sending out the email or the survey saying, due to the situation, my venue can only allow 50 guests the month of my wedding. We would love to know, would you like to attend in person or would you like to be virtual? And over 60% of my couples RSVPs have been virtual. That's where we're at, like right now. And both sides have thanked me. The couples are like, oh, thank you so much. This makes it way easier. We're not stressing out. They're also giving them an RSVP date. We know we can't add you in later. Like this is kind of like the final. This is the rough draft is this one. And then we're going to do one more final RSVP on this date. Then all that happens is it gets transferred to me, gets transferred to the wedding planner, gets transferred to the caterers. It's just like, a trickle down effect. And now we know how many people are coming. Now we know who's sitting where. Now we know who's eating what. And yes, it's more intimate, and the couple's going to be able to still do it all. They're actually getting more, more than they thought they were going to get because it's a smaller guest count. And then we have come up with an amazing timeline, which Yvette and I have already been testing this with our pop-up weddings, where it's ceremony first. Then it is a little different. It's not traditional. We're coming in, and this is for the pop-ups. The pop-ups have been 15 or less, and we're coming straight in from the ceremony. We're doing either like a first dance or introduction. Then we're going straight into cake, toast and cutting the cake. And then after that, the couple is able to enjoy taking pictures without being on a time frame. And that has been a perfect either 30 to 45-minute live stream for hundreds. It can be 50 people, it can be 20 people, it can be hundreds of people that are able to be there for the ceremony, the introduction, the first dance, the toast, and the cake cutting, which is what you want your guests to see. You're not going to have a live stream of your 5-hour event. I mean, no one wants to sit there and watch you eat dinner. No one wants to sit there and
they're not eating.
Yeah, like great. So we've kind of adjusted it because, as you know, we're Uncut and Unleashed. There is no wedding book. There's no wedding Bible that said, oh, I can't believe you guys are doing that. No, this is what the new norm is. And it takes a load off. It's like, okay, we're done. We're done with that part. So if you're either doing a pop-up ceremony of 90 minutes right now, you get all of that done, and then you get to have time and enjoy the moment of being married with your partner, taking pictures, not having to worry about the coordinator going, hey, we got to get inside at this time. Hey, we got to do introductions. Like, it's done. And then if they're deciding to do a celebration in 2021, guess what? They get to come back and have a 4-hour party. But that's not happening with all of our guests. Now we're talking about fall weddings. We're talking about fall 2020, winter 2020. What does that look like? Well, here it is. 2 guest lists, 2 separate guest lists. One's the virtual, one's the in-person. Makes everyone's life easier. And if your venue is not doing it yet, guess what? They can jump on a call with us. We have literally been doing this for 6 weeks now? Since end of May? Oh my God. Yeah, since May, actually. Middle of May. We've been doing virtual streaming. So, and LG is who does our virtual streaming. And Mia Bella is actually going to go ahead and put that in their packages going forward. We're actually hardwiring the venue this month to provide live streaming going forward. So it's just going to be part of the package. It's just how many people do you want to live stream to? And they get virtual passes. So it's just perfect.
Okay, let me just say something. The reason, this is where the Uncut and Unleashed comes in. The reason you guys are doing the live streaming is because it's real. What we're going through is real. Virtual streaming for weddings is what is going to be the new norm. It's not even like what is. And listen, I know this is going to hurt people's feelings out there. It's okay. We're Uncut and Unleashed. You don't have to like me, but I'm going to tell you the truth. I am still getting calls from people who are wanting 200 people weddings and are stuck on the 200 plus weddings. Since March of this year, that hasn't even been a thing. I know, don't get me wrong, don't send me emails, don't send me text messages. I had a friend who does, yes, there are people who are still out there under the radar doing that, but the norm of people who are following the guidelines and doing what they're supposed to be doing, there aren't 200 people weddings. So when you're calling and saying, oh no, I have to have, I would just like to encourage everybody again, yes, that is what we're all working towards. And if you have to have that, then you may just tell yourself you may be postponing and postponing and postponing because we're not out of the clear and I don't see this getting any better.
Yep.
So the reality of some of these elements that we're talking about is a reality. And if your expectation is way up here, you're always going to feel like you're let down. Yep. Always, no matter what it is in life, when you expect something this high and then it just plummets because you don't get what you want versus like you're in reality. And then your expectations get to go up higher because you're like, wow, look what I got to do. Look what I got to add on. And some of this, I just, right now, the number one thing, like we talked about last week, is budgets. Everybody is so, rightfully so, thinking through their budgets. What are they spending? What are they not going to spend on their wedding? And I think this is a really good way to get an accurate number and amount that you truly are going to be spending, because you may think, I'm having a 200-person wedding. Only 75 people say they're actually coming. Well, the difference in cost to you between 75 people and 200 people is huge. So
huge,
very huge.
Yeah.
So maybe some of those things that you wanted to include but couldn't because it didn't fit into your budget because you had such a high count. Now some of those things can happen, i.e. when you were talking, I thought, okay, let's just say you invite 200 people. 125 people say, no, I'm not coming. Do you know, you could, instead of being charged, let's just say $50 a person for them to be at the venue, the staffing, the food, the alcohol, whatever it is, and that's what you would be spending on them, and that's a good price. I'm just saying $50 per person. That money that you're in not putting.
You can't get that at my venue, so don't say $50 a person.
Okay, let's just say it's $75.
$125 per person is like the starting point. So let's go there. Like it's normally $120.
Then the math is easier. So let's just do 100. And you have the 125 people that are not coming, okay? 125 times 100. Now, mental math, we all got it. So now you can use that amount of money to now maybe send them, the 125 people, a little special gift. They can't come to the wedding, but maybe you can send them something like we mentioned before, a little thing of champagne. There are cake companies out there that would love to send all of your guests some cake, specialized custom cake that now, maybe it costs you $10, $15 per person, but that's different than $100 to $125 per, and you still include them and make them feel special, even though they're not able to attend.
Yeah. And I've also, and again, this is real. We're not coming, we're not making this up. Like we're living this. We're living this with pop-up weddings too, which is kind of crazy. We've been allowing 15 people or less to do these pop-up weddings since April. So I don't know how many we've been done, but we've done 15 people or less. And it's been hard to get 15 people there. Like blows my mind. I'm going, oh yeah. And they're like, oh, well, we're only gonna have 5 people come. And that's the reality. People are not ready to go out to a 15-person 90-minute pop-up. We're talking now August, September, October, which we know September, October, November are heavy months in Houston because of the weather. People are saying thank you for giving me the option of virtual. 2, there's people that this is the reality. There are people that didn't want to come, but then felt like obligated that they had to come. So now you're paying $125 for this person and they're +1. They show up to the ceremony, they eat their food and they leave, and they're complaining the whole time. Those people now have a pass to go on virtually. And then you have the people that maybe have kids and they can't get sitters, or maybe it's your cousins and they were going to bring their kids and it's like there's no one to watch them. So they're like, but thank you, because now I can still be there. So it's kind of like a gift that keeps on giving. I don't know why we waited for a pandemic to really think this through. The other thing that we've been doing too is just adding on that registry, just like we're live streaming right now. Like this is pretty much what we're doing. We're Facebook live streaming and we have this awesome little ticker at the bottom. People are getting gifts, money, their honey funds, the knot registries are all getting paid the day of their wedding, because people are like, oh God, I didn't get them a gift. I didn't send them anything. So it is the gift that keeps on giving. It's just the way how we need to, it's a mindset change. Yes, your parents are probably like, oh my God. But I've seen couples that parents are like, this is fantastic. Like, we're going to help them. We're going to take part of the list. We're going to call our main family. We're going to give them the option. So just because, again, this was the norm, like there was never really a norm. We are starting a new norm, which is we're going to make it safe for your guests. We're going to make it safe for for our staff. We're going to follow. This is how we can still follow the guidelines. So when there's people and vendors and venues saying, oh, we're not going to make it, we're still charging the client for virtual streaming. We're putting the investment in the venue to have that ready and available so that LG doesn't have to come in and out and do it every single time. Like, this is something we want to have available, but not only just for weddings, for all sorts of events. We're talking about work events, conferences. You guys know we're doing a conference at Mia Bella on the 15th, and kind of that's going to be the new norm for everything. So why not just jump on board and be like, yeah, how do we do this? And if your venue's not offering it, if you have never heard of it, it's totally fine. Like, Yvette and I can walk you through it. We can walk couples through it. We can walk wedding planners through it. We can walk venues through it. We have a vendor that does this for us. If you're not in Houston, they travel. I mean, this is something that will be here forever. And I promise you, just like Yvette said, there's a lot of things that couples want to do for their wedding that they can't do because the guest count is always so high. Well, this is the time that your guest count won't be high, and you can still have the bells and the whistles. If you want to have the donkeys during happy hour with the beers, guess what, guys? Over 50% of your guest count ain't coming. So get the donkeys with the beers. Like, there's just so many things that you wanted to upgrade yourself to first class for your honeymoon. Great. Use that money and take an awesome trip next year, because we all need to really start thinking about the most important thing right now is just being with the people that you love. Don't put people in situations that they don't want to be in. We have to be kind. This is a very hard time for many, many people. And we are ahead. We've been open. There are still people, there are still women that I coach, that I talk to. There are people that we're having conversations with and consultations, Yvette and I, that haven't even left their homes yet. So can you only imagine, like, we're in a different world, but we are testing it for everyone else. And we are living, breathing proof of, we're on our 20th pop-up wedding. Over half of them have done live streaming. It's another form of video that gets to go home with them. They get to use it at their celebration later. They can send that link later on to people who couldn't make it. Like, that's theirs to have. So why wouldn't we do this? And why wouldn't we offer this service? And why wouldn't we help people embrace that new norm? So I'm done with my part on that, and then we can go into our surprise. But you can sure? Up. Yeah, I'm just so passionate about it. I'm like, oh my God, it's like the world of virtual. It was hard for me to get on board with it. It really was, until we did it. And then it was like, oh.
And then you see it, and then you see, like we've mentioned before, you see how people are linked up all around the world, people that you never thought would be able to come, or let's just be real, before pandemic, it wasn't like, people from halfway around the world were actually coming to weddings too all the time. But I think it's great. And I agree with you. I don't know why we didn't do it before, because it's such a great,
it's such a great platform.
It's a great platform.
My kids are doing everything streaming. I mean, the teenage, I'm like, oh God, the streaming and the YouTube and all this. And I'm going, okay, we're living in that world now.
Our whole world is streaming. It's such, okay. And then I was going to say, so again, everything that we just talked about and more is listed in the article that we wrote. It's posted in our Uncut and Unleashed. And we actually gave an example of wording, like, well, what would you put in an email to your survey? How would you word what in the world you're trying to accomplish and do? So we actually put an example of just some basic wording. And I gave a suggestion in there. Everybody's going through something right now. So you don't need to write a book explaining like what you've been through in the past months and how you lost your job and how it's lead to this and the wedding that. One, don't make a celebration a downer. Like, it's supposed to be happy. So the tone of your email should be very happy, that you're so grateful, you guys are moving forward, but whatever, you can look at the wording. And then, because everybody's going through something. So it's not like, people, that's like a special case. Well, there are a lot of weddings that are being postponed, or a lot of people have lost their jobs. A lot of people are struggling financially. So I think just keeping it short, sweet, brief, and amazing and to the point is going to get you farther and a better answer than, going into some long drawn out thing. Someone's like, what? And then like, okay, what's the point? You just want to know if I'm coming to the wedding or not.
And if you're a numbers person or analytics, just do SurveyMonkey. It's free. You can do an actual survey through there, and it'll give you your percentage at the end. But I want to say, don't quote me on this, but I think if you're already on their registry too, I think since there's already emails in there, you can just do a mass email with it as well. But again, reach out to us. We can help you with that. So now we're going to talk about something fun and new. You want to do the announcement? We've come up with something amazing and new and fresh, and we're just kind of taking all of this hard work out of everything, out of the equation for our vendors, for our partners, and for our couples. So
yeah. And okay, so before we announce what it is, I kind of want to say the why.
Yes.
Why? Okay. So I guess doing this since March, and the two of us talking all the time, man, we have seen businesses close down, people get furloughed, companies don't know if they're going to exist, just the back and forth between, clients and vendors with contracts. And, it's just been this like frustration and just everything. So again, always wanting to let's bring resources, information, things that are going to be encouraging, things that are solutions instead of more problems. Let's bring solutions to some of these legitimate concerns. One of the concerns was really trying to figure out, in the midst of the pandemic, how do we know and how do we help the wedding community? One, if you're a couple, find legitimate, real wedding vendors that are qualified to handle a pandemic. And then two, if you're a vendor and you're proven and you're very good at what you do and you're taking the responsibility and you've, dotted all your I's and crossed your T's, how can those vendors get connected with the couples that are really wanting to move forward with good wedding planning? And when I say good, safe, effective, thought through, purposed wedding planning. Now, all of this is being said, in the sense that these are for people who are I really want to make this work. This is a budget that I've thought through. I was thinking of 200 people. Yes, I get it's going to be probably 100, but I really need people who understand, who've done this before, to help me make this happen. So our solution to this problem, because we've seen it all and was to try, what we're doing right now with Uncut and Unleashed was kind of more like it's us bringing information to everybody and like being uncut and real about what's really going on in the wedding world. But there isn't a place where vendors and couples can come together and we know that it's a safe zone to find the perfect match for the connection of, oh, I found my photographer, I found my planner, I found the venue, I found the caterer, through a legitimate source or referral. So we went out on a limb and we started a group that's called the Wedding Professionals Houston Embracing the New Normal.
So no, it's long. It's long.
Yeah, no, it's long.
It's very clear what we're doing.
What it is.
Yeah.
It's wedding professionals and couples that now can be in a group where you know that the vendors have gone through requirements and have been qualified to actually be in the group. So it at first I was like, oh, this sounds like elitist or something. But when we came up with and I'm going to tell you what the 5 requirements are. When we came up with the 5 requirements, I think we both felt like it was very important to have, these are just basic, really, if you think about it, but it's basic because it really separates people who are very serious. They have a legitimate company. They're very serious. They've weathered the storm of the first wave of the pandemic. They've actually been in the storm, and they have the wisdom and the resources, the whatever it is that they've able now that they can continue to help other people. So it's like a resource. Before I go into the requirements, did you want to say anything?
Yes, I think it's really important too, because we also want to separate ourselves from the bride to bride groups. Not that there's anything wrong with those groups, but it's, again, we are the bridge, and we are kind of almost like the tour guide. We're like the tour information desk of, like, if you are ready to plan an actual wedding and you want to be with the professionals who have already gone through this, if it's not even this pandemic, like there's companies that have gone out through the 2008 recession and still came back, like companies that have staff, which we'll go through, have insurance, have actual reviews within the past 6 months. Like we are pretty much vetting your vendors for you, that you can get into this group, put your numbers in, ask for what you're looking for, get the right contacts without having to worry, are they insured, are they not insured, is this their full-time or is this just part-time? Getting their availability, like it's like an in and out. Once you have your wedding, we would love for you to put your reviews and then leave the group. We would love to have you forever, but that's not the purpose of the group. So it isn't a place for you to like beg, barter, trade, sell. That's not the point of this group. It is literally we are connecting the dots for you. So when you literally know, this is a wedding I want, this is the budget I'm thinking, I am open to having consultations with my wedding planner or finding my wedding planner here first before I even find a venue. And literally working with people who have been in the industry for a long period of time, who know how to embrace the new norm, who are already doing it during this pandemic. This is the group for you. And if it's like, oh, I don't want to do that, that's fine. We are literally niching down like to a very specific couple, and we're also niching down to the very specific vendors. And it was very important to us because, again, we've been doing this every single week since the pandemic has started. It has been very important for us to be the connecting pieces, or to be that bridge that brings both the wedding industry side and the couples together, but not waste time. Like, time is money. Time is valuable. We still have to move on. We still have to run businesses. Couples still have to get married. So it's almost like the next part of what Uncut and Unleashed would be is we are connecting you to the right people, and we're vetting them for you. So we're taking out all the work. So it is a membership site. It's a membership group where couples do not have to pay, but the vendors do, because, again, we are looking for serious work to build serious relationships, and so that you can get A to B quickly, instead of going through groups and then being like, oh, I found someone that I love, but my venue doesn't take uninsured, vendors, or they've only done this for a year and, they may not make it through the pandemic. All of that, we're trying to eliminate that, because we've already seen the frustration. But there's going to be couples that this isn't for, and that's totally fine. We're not trying to make it 50,000 people. It's not a numbers thing for us. We'd rather have a small Houston-based group or Texas-based group that we can really say, oh God, thank God I got on that group. I got the 3 vendors that I needed. They were all reliable. Like, I know they all have insurance. Let's plan a wedding. That's what we're doing.
Yeah. And again, I just want to stress, it's not to put down that you mentioned bride to bride, because that has a different resource. That's, to me, that's for a whole different reason that brides get on there, and it's very helpful to all of them to be encouraging one another, and that's totally fine. The other thing is that we have seen through all of this, nothing's more frustrating than, you pick up a phone, especially for the consultations. They're like, okay, I don't know what to do because I had so-and-so as my photographer, can't get a hold of them. The caterer is no longer in business. Like, people are just stuck. And a lot of time, or I should say most of the times, the people that they mention, I'm like, I've never even heard, where'd you find this person? Oh, it was a friend of mine who said that they did wedding photography. And so we booked them, but now I can't even get a hold of them. And, or like, where'd you find your caterer? Oh, I met them at this one place and they gave me really great discount. So, it was like, oh, they said I could have, they said I could have my apps for free, and that was saving $10. Okay, well, sometimes saving $10 in the long run per person isn't going to save you the headache in the long run for things like what we're experiencing now, because everything's the unknown. So my favorite quote of the moment is, you hire professional, not for the times that it's rosy, for it's like, oh, happy, like, look, everything's great, nothing's wrong in my world. You hire a true wedding professional for when the poop hits the fan.
Yeah.
That's when you need a real professional in your pocket. It's like a lawyer, where someone goes, oh, I don't need a lawyer, I'm totally fine, I can, all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I'm getting sued, I need a lawyer. Yeah, you need a professional now because the hit the fan. Yep. So it's the same thing. It's the same concept. And we just wanted to make it super simple, again, for the couples that are seeking true wedding professionals, that, like you said, have been vetted, and that you already know, like, they've already had to go through a procedure to actually be in this group. So I want to just read off what exactly it is that we came up with and why. So these are the vendor requirements to be in the group that we formed. Number 1, they have to have a Facebook, Instagram, and website. Now, you would think, duh, that makes perfect sense. Like, why would you even have to say that? Because people out there listening, there are people who call themselves professionals that only have one, and they don't have all 3. And I think the reason the 3 is important is because it's the top 3 things that people use. And it says that someone has taken the time to set up a website. They took the time to be present on Facebook, and they took the time to be on Instagram, and they're constantly posting, keeping up, and they have an interest in what they're doing. Basically, the things that I'm about to say, the list that we're saying, kind of separates someone. It's a professional business versus a hobby. It's something they just do for fun. They do it on the side. It's a side gig, side hustle, versus no, this is what they've been doing. They've got the experience, and they rely on wedding income as their primary source of income. Kind of just separates, the 2 differences. Secondly, they have to have $1 million liability insurance. Now, this one we could do a whole episode on, because my God, when the pandemic hit, everybody realized the little wording in there did not include COVID or a pandemic or something that we just went through. So people, whether there was the couples and or vendors that had liability insurance, realized what it did cover and what it does not cover. So moving forward, the things that I was finding out was that, yes, they would like to get back to where a couple and a vendor, whoever, can get the liability and the cancellation insurance. But right now that's almost like unheard of. But what you can get, or what a vendor should have, is $1 million liability. And you go, well, for what, if it doesn't even cover the pandemic? You never know what's going to happen. A wedding or an event, you never know. So personal injuries, damage to property, you're driving your truck and all of a sudden you accidentally run over the sprinkler system at the venue. When it all comes down to, people go, who pays for that? Who's going to cover it? Someone drinks and drives and they get in an accident. Whose responsibility is that? And it covers lawsuits. It covers all kinds of stuff that you still don't know could happen or happen. And it's And another safeguard. But here's where you separate again someone who is professional and someone who just does this on the side. When you turn in your insurance, you have to have proof that you're a true company. And one of that would be your EIN, which is your employer identification number with the government. Is that person paying taxes? Does that person have a legitimate company that they can prove who they are? Because the insurance companies ask you to prove who you are. They want to know, like, are you legit? Why are you asking me for this insurance? I need to know who you really are. So again, it just separates the two different groups as far as like who you're really dealing with and who you're giving your money to for services. The third one, having a minimum of 5 current reviews on Facebook, The Knot, Yelp, Google, whatever. Just 5 current in the past, even just 1 or 2 years, just separates again. Is this someone who is consistently in the wedding world, understands what's going on, or is it just someone who randomly here and there, like, oh, 3 years ago I got a review and I haven't gotten one since? I used to be the worst at this. I am so not even kidding you. Up until probably a year ago, maybe, I just stopped. I mean, I didn't even ask because I was like, well, whatever. But now I'm like, oh my God, that's so important, because that is the voice of the person that you just did the service with, and you get to hear directly how currently this person is doing. You know, what are they doing for you? So that's why we put that one. Number 4, they have experience planning or executing their business services during COVID. We were all around the map on this one as far as like everybody was trying to figure things out, but that's okay. But that someone has actually done a wedding during COVID so that they understand masks, social distance. It's one thing to read about it. It's like,
do it.
Sure,
Yeah, the other thing
one thing to, yeah, I could go read a book on surgery, but you know, Chris just had surgery. Do you think that if I came up to him and I said, hey, I just read these books, I'm really well versed in what it says, so do you think I can like experiment on your ankle and do surgery? No, hell no. I know you wouldn't even, you'd be like, don't even think about it.
No.
So,
but that's right. We were still like the first 2, 3, 4 pop-up weddings. It was kind of like, ooh, like I thought we were doing it right. And then it's like, you're managing a herd of other people who are like, oh, well, we read the requirements, but now we're here and we're like, oh, we're not doing it. I'm like, oh no, you can't grab that. Or like, oh, we can have this. And people aren't used to that. It's not a bad thing, but you kind of have to live in it. We don't want you to be the guinea pig, that couple to be the guinea pig with that vendor. Cause you can't recreate that thing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Then the 5th one, final requirement is that they use contracts with words that clearly describe the procedures for whether they have deposits or retainers, rescheduling, and then force majeure for the events.
Yes.
Now, that's again because we just went through it where someone had it, didn't have it. What does it mean? What does it not mean? And all chaos broke out with, you're not being fair, you should do this, and venues and vendors and clients were all arguing about what it all meant. If it's clearly written out, then it's clearly understandable. Okay, now this is a true story. 2 true stories. Last week I talked to a young lady on the phone. Great conversation. But she was very upfront, and so was I. She said, listen, I don't feel comfortable hiring a wedding professional who is gonna not give me back my deposit and has a rescheduling fee. And we went, when I say back and forth, we just meant like she gave her opinion, I gave my opinion as to why we do that. And she's clear on like, she's like, I don't want to have to pay extra money if I have to reschedule. I knew personally for me, I'm like, that's going to make or break, because from my perspective, it's like, if you want, again, a true professional who's going to be here in a year, who's going to stand behind the contract, who gets why we're doing this, not even that, but just like business concepts, versus say an amateur or someone who hasn't been around for very long. And they're just like, oh yeah, I'll do this for you. Oh, I'll totally, whatever it takes just to get you to sign the bottom line. That's not always in your best interest. And sometimes I understand budgets, but sometimes money should not be the bottom line as to why you do something. Maybe scale back on something else so that you can make sure that you're safer and more protected by a true professional than you're just hiring someone because the bottom line was they were less expensive. That's not necessarily going to get you where you want to be in the long run.
No, I agree.
Then the second story, back to liability. I was sharing this with Geovanna. a really great friend who I as near and dear, super funny. But I was talking to him about this group, and he goes, "Oh my gosh, I would totally want to join it, but guess what? I can't." And I said, "Why?" And he goes, "We don't have liability insurance." He's a staffing agency, and I was like, "Wait, what?" Like, how do you not have, and he's established, he's been in the industry for a long time, and he said, "No, it's about," he's like, "I'm actually in the process of getting it right now. As soon as I get it, I'll let you know, because I really want to be a part of the group." And I'm like, "That's great, and I'm really glad that you're doing that, because it scares me to think that you didn't." And if any, especially with wait staff, anybody falls, they hurt themselves,
Yeah.
injuries,
Yeah.
it's all on his company. And I'm like, medical expenses, how in the world would you pay for all that stuff unless you have the insurance to cover just anything that happens? Anyway, I'm glad to know that he is. But even some people that you think that are established, and I guess when I say doing what they're supposed to, I guess just good business practices that covers yourself and your clients, that we're finding that people are now like, okay, no, I need to get all my stuff together, and I need to make sure it's like boom, 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 because of look at all the stuff that we've gone through.
And I will say, before I had a venue and I was a wedding planner, I did not have insurance, but I would pull day of insurance for each event. So that is, we will also accept that. I want to make sure, especially in the wedding, with the wedding planners, because I know it's a little different. So, and a lot of people don't know that that's also a possibility. So if you've already been established and you've already pulled your, now if you're starting to do that now, with you can't come into the group. But if you've done that in the past and that's how you ran your business, that would be the same thing as having your $1 million liability policy. But that is important to us for so many reasons, not just because of the pandemic, but because we also want our clients to pull day of insurance. And that insurance is only, it only works if your vendors have insurance. So if you pull your day of insurance and someone doesn't pay you, or someone doesn't show up, or something happens with the food, or something happens with the music, or, and those vendors don't have liability insurance, you're not going to get any money. The company's not going to pay you to have paid to save money. Like, that doesn't work. You have to hire true businesses. So this is what we've done. This is what we've created. We've taken all of the works on the step out of what you or your wedding planner or your venue should be doing. So we're kind of doing the job of 3 people for this group. And again, it's for the couples who are ready to plan. They have a budget in mind. They're also, again, I would really say this is the group you go in before you even find your venue, and you find a wedding planner that matches your style, your personality. And then from there, kind of let them guide you. We have brought in multiple vendors of every single area. This isn't just going to be like, oh, who Yvette and Geovanna want. Like, no, there's people that are joining the group that we don't even know. Like, if they meet those requirements, they're in the group. Same thing for couples. We want to make sure that you come in, you have a clear vision. If you don't, guess what? You can jump on a call with Yvette and I, and we can already get you into the right direction before. And then you're just in for, I'm looking for these 5 things. I'm looking for my wedding planner only. Putting in your budget. I think that's really important, because it's going to, if there's a wedding planner that's like, oh, I only do, $2,000 or more, or $2,000 minimum, then they're not going to message you. But when you go, I'm looking for a wedding planner, well, everyone's going to message you. So we are going to be very clear on how to really navigate through the group. And then if you need something, like you're not ready to get into that group, then just go to the Uncut Unleashed group. That's something that we've already had, that we've been growing day by day. That is really for you to come and ask and learn and vent and see what's been going on, look at other lives, check out our articles. So we've kind of separated the two. That's not really, we don't want couples joining the other group if they're not ready to wedding plan. Like, that's like, I'm ready to have a wedding. I know what I want. I know what my budget is. Or I think I know this is what I'm thinking. Now I need to find the people. That's what the membership group is for. If you're still not sure, the pandemic's getting to you, you want to wait and pause, then come to the Uncut Unleashed page, because we have so much stuff there. Like, I cannot even tell you, 3 months of free articles, lives, like whatever topic, I think we've covered it. And some of them twice, because where we were back in March, we're back again in July. So we've kind of covered it twice with the updates and like what you can be doing. We are here, we're live, we're real, we're telling you, like, this is what you can do next weekend, and this is what you can do next month. And planning A through D, if you haven't done anything and you haven't been in our group and you haven't read or just watched, go get that article. I promise you'll feel 1,000 times better. If you can plan like that and knowing that virtual streaming is now the new norm, you can have the wedding of your dreams with 15 people, 25 people, 50 people, 100. And I promise you, these intimate, micro, whatever you want to call them, they're real weddings too. And I feel like couples now are realizing this is what I wanted from the beginning. But because the book of weddings said we have to invite everybody and their mother, that's not the truth. You don't. And I promise you, we're seeing it. People are thanking me on both sides, on the couple side and on the guest side. Thank you. Thank you for taking me into consideration. This is going to work for me virtually. Put me on the virtual list. Put me on the virtual list. 60% of guests are saying put me on the virtual list. So let's do it. Let's do it.
Full disclosure with the group. The vendors are paying $5 a month to be on the group. Whoop-de-doo, $5. That's $60 a year to be on here. Geovanna and I are not doing this to be paid any. This is not our income. That's really going to cover. We're going to be doing Facebook boosts and just covering some stuff and really marketing. And for us, it was really just this to separate like a vendor who was really serious about finding good qualified clients and clients who are wanting to find qualified vendors. It's like it kind of separates the vendors who are like, yeah, I'm really serious about making this work. And in the new normal, these are the things, going forward. So full disclosure, $5. Couples are free, but the vendors are $5. It's not going to make or break anybody. I'm already out the money because I put my money into doing a boost, which came back, and I'll have to try it out again because Facebook is telling me all kinds of crazy stuff, but I'll send it out again. But pass that information on to anybody who wants. And obviously they need to follow the guidelines, the vendors. Once they say in there that they want to be a part of it, then we say, great. Now they have to send us the proof of these 5 things. And people that I know, like a photographer yesterday, I know her. She's an amazing photographer, love her. But I was like, I have to kind of visually see it because I just want to know. I just want to know for my own consciousness that I saw it, that I knew. So everybody is going to the same requirements.
This is the great thing about Facebook or anywhere, and even with membership sites, membership groups, it's niche. It is not a numbers thing. I'm not looking by next month to have 20,000 people in my group. No, I don't want that. I really don't want that. We want to make sure that we are connecting A to B, that time is money, people that are ready to do it, let's go. That's okay. If you're not there, then just join us when you're there. Like, we're not going anywhere, but you have to understand that what we're doing, what Yvette and I do every single week, that we'll keep on doing every single week, is this show, this podcast. I mean, we're putting this on YouTube. We're putting this on our actual podcast on Apple and Spotify. Like, this is everywhere for everyone. And it's, I love seeing Yvette, don't get me wrong, but we are literally trying to change mindsets, embrace the new norm, and not let something like this ruin businesses. And just love always wins. Like, we still have to move on. We cannot sit here and just be like, oh, I couldn't do it because of COVID, or oh my God, COVID ruined my wedding. No, we're just teaching you how to do it the new way. Because again, we don't know when we're going to be done with this. There are people and couples that still haven't left their house, that are still in a place where they can't even imagine planning. So we are kind of like the hope. And then for our vendors, for our partners, for people we don't know the industry, we are here to help you survive. And we are here to get you to your people. We are here to get you to your perfect couple. We're kind of like the matchmakers.
Oh my God, there she goes.
We may change the name later, but that's what we're doing. A whole new show. So this show has been actually longer than normal, but I think we had a lot of fun information. If you guys have any, go ahead.
I was gonna say we for sure. We still have an opening for our August 8th pop-up. That is one more. It's $7,600 wedding that includes so much that is priced at $2,600. That's it for everything you could. It's like a pop-up on Fleek. I mean, it's like it's gonna be. They're amazing, and now with the venue being the new. paint, the new landscaping. I mean, it's like, it's really going to be beautiful. And so if you know of anybody, one slot left to grab that space, $2,600 for an amazing, beautiful
And remember,
wedding.
it is for couples affected by COVID. I mean, I know a lot of people haven't been affected, but we really make sure that the free one was for couples who, Carolee and Augustine who won. We had 15 amazing couples that entered, but we want to make sure that if you want to pop up wedding customize, we can do that for you. Yvette and I can do that any time of the year. But 8/8/20 is really reserved for 4 couples that were truly affected. So maybe you know of someone that didn't even know we had this going on. Call us because we have 1 spot left. I believe it's the 4 o'clock spot. But anyway, call us and we will give you the information. If you can go to any of our pages and it tells you exactly what's it's everything. It literally is everything that's included for $2,600. And so we really want to make sure that one more amazing couple gets that. And Yvette and I had been talking, and if this is something that may work out, we may be doing this promotion like once every month or once every couple of months, because we've been doing so many pop-ups and we don't know what some people just can't afford to even do a full wedding now, next year, in 2 years. So we want to be able to use the days that we do have available and do 3 to 4 in a day, because that's like us doing. So let us know. You know where to find us. If you have any questions, send us a message. We'll take care of y'all.
All right.
Till next week.
Woohoo! Bye.